Hello, it's Lou Collins. Today I've got another card template for you. This one is called a split shutter card template, and there's a couple of different ways you can fold it and use it. I'll show you one of the ways, but certainly once you cut the template you can have a play and decide which way works best for you. Now, because at the moment, at the time of recording this, we're in October, so I'm going to be using some Halloween goodies here. These are all available on Cardstock and they're from Simply Made Crafts. So Helen Griffin has designed these. I've got stamps and dies that coordinate, and then I've also got her papers too, and I'll be using this with some plain coloured cardstock. So you can download this template for absolutely any theme of card, of course. If you want to go Christmas, new baby, wedding, birthday, whatever, you can download the template on Craft World. So simply go to downloadables and you'll find them there. If not, if you're looking at this inside a Craft World post, you should have a link to the template download here too. So let's get started with, first of all, creating the base. Now I'm going to be using this new black card from Creative Craft Products as the base. This is 260 GSM, so it's a really, really good weight of cardstock. And you can see it's perfectly smooth, it's absolutely beautiful. Perfect for stamping on, things like that. Embossing as well and such. Now, because that's obviously black, that's made everything around here go really bright. So if I take that away, there we go. So you'll have to, apologise, you'll have to deal with the light sort of changing ever so slightly throughout this video while I'm using the black cardstock. So I'm going to bring in my repositionable glue. I use the Crafter's Companion one, but there's lots of others on the market. Otherwise, if you've got any sort of just low tack tape that you can use to keep your template in place whilst you work, that will go absolutely fine too. So just putting that as close to the edge of the cardstock as I can, just so that I don't get too much wastage, because I like to try and use as much as possible. I'm going to bring my trimmer in and cut around the edge. So on the Craft World templates, all of the solid lines are cut lines, all of the dotted lines are score lines. Now with this, this is also from Creative Craft Products, with this trimmer, you can actually cut and score. So I don't have to worry about bringing in extra tools if I don't want to. I do have a scoreboard, and I do have the scoreboard from the same brand as well, which is absolutely fantastic. It takes 12 by 12 papers and it has really tiny increments on it, so I can get really accurate score lines. But while I've got my trimmer out, I may as well just use this instead. So the orange blade is the trimmer, as you can see, and I'm just going around the edge. So what I'm going to do now is put the orange blade up the top so it's out of the way. And then I'm going to bring a dotted line into the groove instead, and I'm going to use this white one, and this is my scoring tool. So I'm going to go along there. I do have another cut line to do in just a moment. Now, the great thing about this is I can lift this up and I can move my blade to where I want it. Just put it there and then score along there and move it along. So really nice and easy, really accurate as well. So just going along all of these dotted lines here. This one's nice and easy because it's all the way up and down. And then these ones are slightly shorter, but it's not the end of the world if you accidentally score where you shouldn't. We're going to cover a lot of this up with pattern paper anyway. Just make sure that's in place and straight as well, and just press down where we need it. So then I just need to do the last two cut lines, and they are these down here. So put my scoring tool out of the way, bring this into the groove there, so you can see that's in the middle. Lift this up, bring my blade to where I want it, and press down to there. Perfect. Just make sure that you've cut your line to the ends of the pink line there. Make sure it's cut all the way through as well, because we are going through both the template and the cardstock underneath, and then do the same on the other side. It's better to cut a little bit too short than a bit too long. That's perfect. Okay, so now I've got my score lines and my cut lines. I can now remove my template from here. So this is why I use a repositionable glue. Just gently remove that. No glue is left on here. Now I'm going to keep this because this is going to help me cut my my mats and layers in a little while. And let's see about folding this. Now, what I like to do very often is fold both backwards and forwards of any lines. Now, you might like to take a bone folder. I'll just grab mine here. And once you've gone back and forth, just secure the line a little bit. That makes it really flexible, so then we can work out which way we want to fold our card. Now this piece here through the middle, this needs folding again, backwards and forwards, like so. Now in my mind, I'm going to have this so it's a tri-fold card, like that. So I've got the first of this window on here, the second in the middle, and then this is the solid piece here on the right. So that means that this needs to fold back and forth too. So I'm going to concertina fold this piece in the middle, and concertina fold just means backwards and forwards. So I'm just going to fold that back and forth until I'm happy with it all, making sure that everything's folding. And then you can have a play with which direction you want this to go in. So we can see here, we can open it up like so, or we can pop that out and have it so it's hiding in here too. The choice is entirely yours. I actually quite like it like that. It's a little bit like it's a display in there, and that's all hidden. So it's poking out just ever so slightly from the edge of the card, and I think you could easily hide that if you wanted to. I don't think it really matters though. But what's really good fun is I can now, if I want to, have fun with maybe some thread and an eyelet hole puncher, or even just a pokey tool, and I can create myself some sort of cobweb. So I think I'm going to do that in that aperture, which is really good fun. I really like that look. So that will of course stand all on its own, and then you have this space just here for to be able to put your message. So the next piece is going to be decorating this part and the outside edge, and that's where I'm going to bring my papers in. So I've got these lovely Halloween papers. As I said, they're from Simply Made Crafts, from her Happy Haunting collection, which has only just recently been released. Now I want to have quite a plain element just on this side because I want to allow it to be written on. So if somebody wants to write a note, that will work. So I'm just going to line this up, and what I tend to take is a pokey tool to mark whereabouts I want to cut. So just a little score line there, and then the same on the other side as well. I'll bring in my trimmer. So far the only tool I've really used, big tool I've used, is my paper trimmer. So you don't need a lot to use these templates. And of course this can all be done without a trimmer as well. If you don't have any tools yet, if you're just starting with paper craft, if you've just got scissors, a craft knife, a bone folder, that sort of thing, handheld tools, they will work equally as well. Now I love the look of this pattern paper because it's kind of like a concrete effect, just sort of stone, maybe stone effect. That's going to sit really nicely on there. And then I need to decorate inside these pieces. I think I'm going to use, I want some orange in here, so let's have a look. Do you know what, it might be quite fun to have, where are they? There's some little faces in here somewhere. There they are, look at these. So they're good fun. So let's pop those, let's have those on the inside so they're kind of looking through. So the easiest way to do this is to just take your template and let's use some scissors and just cut out this part here. 1 and 2, just there. And let's stick this. Now we want to make sure that we've got a few of the faces in there. So I'm just looking at the patterns, making sure I've got some faces peeking through, just there. Stick that onto there, and then we can trim that out. Now again, you can do this with your trimmer if you prefer. I'm just cheating, I'm just doing it with my scissors. This is roughly tacked back onto the paper. There we go. I'm also going to use that template while I have it to make the score lines too. So let's pop this back on there. Bring it back to my trimmer again. Make sure I'm using the scoring tool. So that's the white one, and score the lines through again, just the same way as we did earlier. This time we're just going through this pattern paper instead. Now, to make the holes for the cobweb, I'm going to use a crocodile. So that's a tool that I've had for many years, but you don't have to use that. If you've got any sort of hole punch style tool, or even, like I say, just something like a pokey tool, that will work equally as well. So just folding those score lines, and that's going to sit inside here. Perfect. That's also going to help strengthen that card up. Love that. Okay, so let's glue this on while we can. So I'm going to use my Scissors Express glue. Just a little bit of glue. I do enjoy making things like Halloween cards. I don't very often give many of them. I do more Halloween decor, to be honest, more when my children were younger. We used to have like parties and they'd go trick-or-treating, and we'd make an evening of it, have a really fun sort of spooky dinner and things like this. I don't do as much anymore because they're older. They're not worried about doing that now. So I do really enjoy making the occasional Halloween card because I do miss it. I think it is just a time where you can really have some fun, isn't it? Right, okay, so let's just fold this back where it was. And there we go. I might need to just trim that end. I see, it's just come away a little bit from the paper. So make sure that's all lined up. Perfect. I'm going to leave that to dry now while I work on the next bit. Actually, let's glue this piece down while we can. There we go, just a little bit of this express glue. I'm not going to ink around the edges because I think there's enough kind of distressing in here with this paper, with this cardstock here being like a stone effect. So I don't feel that I need to add any more to it. And we're going to put a sentiment in there from the Stamp and Die set anyway. So are you ready now to fold? I think you're ready to fold in. Lovely. Okay, let's do this cobweb effect. Let's just pop things like the lid on my glue and the papers out of the way for now, and let's take my crocodile. So this is the crocodile tool. I've got a bit of paper in there, still remove that. So I've got a small hole punch on one side, a larger hole punch. I'm going to go with the small one. I don't need anything large. And I'm just going to work my way across the top here and do some holes. Again, I'm not actually worried about them being too, too perfect. I'm going to do one hole just down here as well. I'm going to do some across here. Now, I don't want the whole thing to be covered in a cobweb, just part of it. So I think that might be enough for now, and then I'll have a look later and see if I need any more. So let's get now a darning needle and some white embroidery thread. Well, that was brilliant fun working out how that was going to work. So just randomly threading, I went from all the holes through into this middle one, bearing in mind you want to keep all the threads in front of this panel. So some of them I had to go in the front, some in the back. It was particularly these ones around the back that I needed to sort of be careful about where I was threading. But yeah, good fun. So I've now got my cobweb in front there of my spooky faces, which is really good fun. The last thing we need to do is just add a sentiment to this, and I'm going to use, as I said before, I'm going to use this set from it's got Happy Halloween on it. This set from Simply Made Crafts Happy Haunting collection. So you can see there's a cobweb there as well. We've even got a spider if I wanted to cut that and put that in front of the cobweb. But for a sentiment, now I can either use Trick or Treat, I Put a Spell on You, Happy Halloween. I like this one, I really like this one. So let's look at using this. So I'm going to use, I think I'm going to stamp just white on black because I've got white in the cobweb, so I'll kind of bring the white in, but I can also just stress it a little if I want to. So let's just grab a black ink pad, a stamping block, and then of course some white cardstock. So just to make this label look a little more vintage, I'm going to add brown distress ink around the edge, and then I'm also going to give it a few creases and such. Just screw it up a little bit, and then just pick out a few of those lines that have been created with the distress ink as well. There we go, so that will sit on there, perfect. Okay, so let's just glue this on. I think I'm going to put this on with a foam tape, just to lift it up ever so slightly so you get the drop shadow behind it. This is Craft Stash foam tape, so it's a really good deep quality foam tape. I absolutely love this. I'll stock up on it rolls and rolls at a time every time. And pop that inside there. Now, as you close that, you can see you've got your poison through there, and as you open it up, you've got the spooky faces as well. And you can do so much more with this as well. Like I say, you can add a spider if you wanted to. You could do more cobwebs if you wanted to. You still have space on the back to add a personal note also, but that's just really good fun. And as I say, this shape can absolutely be adapted to so many other themes as well. So head over to Craftworld to find yourself the download for the split shutter card template. Download that and have a go yourself. We would love to see what you're making by posting it in the inspiration gallery on Craftworld.